here we go. So everybody should have two pencils, colored pencil, regular pencil. Listen to me. I don't care how your friends say their teacher taught it. I'm teaching you the easiest way to do this, okay? So even if I ask you to draw something ridiculous, draw something ridiculous. I promise it's the easiest way, okay? All right, here we go. So at the very top of your paper, we're going to write topic 3. This is unit 1, topic 3. Your quiz over topic 3 will be Wednesday, September 8th, so in exactly 1 week. Okay, we're learning something new every day between now and then, so make sure you're here. Okay? Linear inverse. Does anybody know what inverse means? It does not mean reverse, but it does not mean opposite. That's what you learned in middle school. It does not mean opposite. Okay? So, we're going to find the inverse of a function by switching x and y. So every time I think inverse, I should think switch. Inverse, switch. Inverse, switch. Okay? Every single time. Now, think before you speak. There's another word for x and there's another word for y. And you just took a quiz over them. Great? Domain and range. So if my x and my y value switch, what else has to switch? My domain and my range. So make sure we write that down. So my domain above x and range above y also have to switch. Okay? We are going to graph the original function. Take your regular pencil and circle or box the word original, because original is going to be in our regular pencil. And we're going to graph the inverse. Take your colored pencil and box inverse. That way our graphs are colorful and we know what's happening. An inverse reflects over the line y equals x. This line has to be on your graph. So if you need to write that, then write that. Must be on graph. Okay? Okay, so we're going to start simple. We are just going to start with points. When I put points on a graph, do I connect them? No, because these are points. So points, we don't connect them. Even if they look like a line, we don't connect them. They are just points, okay? So I'm going to give you about 30 seconds. See if you can graph these points with your regular pencil. You should be using regular pencil. So 0, 4. So I stay at the origin and I go up 4. Negative 1, 3. That means left 1, up 3. And I'll stop talking so that you can graph the last two. Okay? So check up real quick. You should have a graph that looks similar to mine. No lines because these are points. That's not a line. Okay? So now we need to graph the inverse. And the minute you hear inverse, what should your brain be thinking? Switch what? Your x and y. So y, x. So instead of 0, 4, colored pencil, getting your colored pencil. Instead of 0, 4, my first point will be 4, 0. Instead of negative 1, 3, my point will say 3, negative 1. Very good. My negatives never changed. It's stuck to the number. Okay? Instead of 5, 2, I now have 2, 5. And instead of 6, negative 2, I now have negative 2, 6. With your colored pencil, go put these points on your graph. You should still be in your colored pencil. It's okay if the points touch the same. It's okay if they overlap. It's going to happen. When you get those 4 points, you need something straight, like a student ID is a very good straight edge. If you don't have one, then very quickly go get a ruler from the back. Quickly, okay? So you need something straight, not a pencil, something straight. Okay? All right, here we go. Focus. Ready? We're moving on. So I have my graphs done. Blue is original. Red is the inverse. There's one more thing that must be on my graph, and that's this line, y equals x. This goes through the origin, and it is a positive diagonal line. So with your straight edge, you want to go through the origin, and it's a diagonal line from one end of my graph to the other. Has to be perfectly in there, a slope of 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, okay? So this is y equals x. Now put your pencils down and let's look real quick, because there's a way to tell, did I do this correctly? If I jump a line, that's a reflection. I'm reflecting. I'm jumping over a line, which means my points should be exactly the same distance apart. Okay? So I'm going to turn my paper. Just watch. If I count boxes, how many boxes away is this blue dot? 1.5. And if I go the other side, how many boxes away should my red dot be? 1.5. You don't want this on your graph. You can for notes, that's fine, but on your other graphs, we're not going to put this, okay? So let's just go check another one. Look at this very bottom one. My red, is 2 to the right, which means I should have a blue dot 2 to the left. Do you see that? That is how I know that I have done my graph correctly, because my dots are perfectly the same amount away from my diagonal line, okay? Questions so far? Okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to set a 10-minute timer for you to finish just these next 3 graphs. What is different between the one we did and the second one? What's the only difference? It's a table, but what's your first point going to be? -2, 4. This right here is my first point, okay? So, original with your regular pencil, inverse with your colored pencil. Now, flip over to the back, okay? What do you notice is different about the back of this paper? It's an equation, which means that this is now a line. So I might have to put points on my graph, but I will connect them because it's a line, okay? So let's talk about graphs real quick. Go to the very bottom so you can take a few cliff notes. When I have my equation, y equals 1/2 x minus 4, where do I start graphing? The y-intercept, which is this right here. This is my y-intercept. That's where you have to start, okay? Let's talk about my slope real quick. It's 2 R words. What are my R words? Rise over run. Rise goes up and down. Run goes side to side. So if I have a 1/2, if I have a 1/2, is my 1 going up or going down? Up. And then my +2 tells me to go what direction? Right. Okay? Let's look at one more thing. What if I have a -3 over a +4? What does -3 tell me to do? Down, right? The top is down or up. So down 3. What does +4 mean? Right 4. Okay? Here's the last thing we're going to talk about, and then we'll go actually graph. What if my negative is in front, just like this? They cannot both be negative. You have to pick one, okay? I don't care if you write negative 2 over 5 or if you write 2 over negative 5. Only one of them can be negative. So let's just be crazy and write positive 2 over negative 5. So we have an example. Which way does 2 go? Up, because it's positive. Which way does negative 5 go? Left, okay? Everybody understand how to read our slope, okay? All right, you should be in your original pencil. Let's go do number 1 together. So my original pencil, y equals negative 2x plus 2. Where am I going to start? Positive 2 on what axis? The y-axis. Now, what does a slope of negative 2 mean? What is that really? Negative 2 over 1. So, what direction am I going for the 2? Down 2 and don't you dare say over. I don't know what that means. Right 1. Very good. So, from my dot, I'm going to go down 2, right 1. Down 2, right 1. Down 2, right 1. You need at least 4 dots. At least. Try to get 4 dots on there. Let's pretend, I can't go down 2 and right 1 anymore. What else could I do? Go up 2 and left 1. Very good. So go back to your original and let's do 1 dot. So go up 2 and left 1. With your straight edge, we are going to connect these dots. Straight edge. You definitely need a straight edge, please. And since these are lines that go off my graph, what do I need at the end of my lines? An arrow. Very good. Okay? Now, here's where I'm going to tell you I teach it the easy way, so it's less confusing. There's a lot of math we can do to get our answer. That's what we're going to do tomorrow. Today, we are going to pick 4 points from our graph. So, this one, the very top one we drew, how would I write that point down? What would that be? Negative 1, 4. So in my regular pencil, I'm going to write that down. Negative 1, 4. What's my second dot going to be? 0, 2. My third dot would be 1, 0. And my fourth dot would be 1, 2, 1, 2. So 2, negative 2. Now we've made it as simple as the front page, right? So I can take my colored pencil and what can I do to these points? I can inverse or flip them. So instead of negative 1, 4, I will have 4, negative 1. Instead of 0, 2, I will have 2, 0. Very good. Instead of 1, 0, I will have 0, 1. And instead of 2, negative 2, I will have, with your colored pencil, go graph those quickly for me. 4, negative 1. 2, 0, 0, 1. Negative 2, 2. And since it is still a line, use your straight edge and connect your points. And there's one more thing I must have on my graph. What else must I have on my graph? Y equals X. Very good. Make sure that's on your graph. Y equals X. If not, you get points taken off. And although it's a little more difficult, I could still check to see if it's equal distance apart. Lines are a little harder because sometimes they flip different where our eyes are confused, okay? So, this is what we are doing for the rest of these problems. So you have about 15 minutes Just under 15 minutes to get these 3 problems completed. Can you do that for me? Okay?